It's up Wales through a goal, slots it beyond Fodringer, and the Millers are in front in the South Yorkshire derby. And for the first time in 42 years, Rotherham United win at Bramall Lane. On the edge of the box for Doffin, he can hit them, and he does. The Doffin has scored an absolute screamer for Rotherham United. Rotherham United have secured their championship status for next season.
Do me a favour, drop me off in Rotherham.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to New York Talk. This is the Rotherham United podcast. Thank you all for being with us for the final review show of the season, at the most entertaining game of the season, by not even a competition, to be honest with you. 5 goals for us, 2 for them. A farewell, probably a farewell to Victor Johansson as well. Quite a lot to talk about. We'll try and get it all done in an hour if we can. We'll see what happens. Mick, how are you doing?
I'm good, mate. Thank you. All good. Thank you. Are you?
I'm very, very good. Very, very good. Grumpy Ben, how are you today?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you.
Would you like to know why we call it? Would you like to tell the group why you're Grumpy Ben?
Well, I don't know, but Victor called me. Apparently, that's what I got called him when I was on when we interviewed him. So apparently, that's stuck with him now. So
Victor's going to give you a name. It's going to stick, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
Yeah. If anybody hasn't watched when we interviewed Victor 2 years ago now, Victor thought that Ben was very grumpy. So whenever he thinks of Ben, he thinks Grumpy Ben. So there you go. Unlucky. Danny's back. How are you doing, Danny?
I'm doing good, lads. How are we all?
Very, very good. Very, very good. And Kev is back with us. How are you doing, Kev?
Not bad, mate. I've just about sobered up and got my voice back, but I'm all right.
Good. So let's start with a couple of stuff because that was a wonderful day, wonderfully organised. Kev, there's a few thank yous to go around as well. It's just to there's plenty of money raised as well. You know, raised a lot of money for hospice again.
Yeah, really good. I mean, I didn't obviously it was all Victor's idea. To be fair, he came to me with the idea and said, "Can you help?" Basically, he just spiraled from there. The cards, and obviously big shout out to Brett Stubbins from BSB Print. He does all the stuff for the hospice nights as well. So they Legends nights. He turned around those cards in a space of 2 days, designed them and all that. Did them all free of charge as well. So cheers, Brett. And it really just the day just literally couldn't have gone any better. It's like almost a surreal experience when, like, from I was there a bit early to set up, and Victor rang me. They were outside with his granddad. He said, "Can you look after him?" And obviously, him being there and his friends and family. Then obviously later on when Victor came in as well, it was just unbelievable. And money raised, yeah. Altogether, we're just under. We've got to count the bucket share, but it's going to be around £4,000, which is crazy. 2,600 from the raffle alone. 840, I think, from the sale of the shirts, and then just collection stuff. Unbelievable response.
Amazing. Yeah. A good old day. We did some filming, Danny, didn't we? We got some videos of people sending some thank you messages to Victor. I know the club have done some as well, so we'll try and get them together, Danny. It was nice to see everybody so happy, Danny, and just he hasn't confirmed he's leaving yet, but it just felt like a party, a farewell party, and it just made the atmosphere good, and the game was, which we'll come on to. The atmosphere was just lovely. Oh
yeah, it was. I mean, it didn't have the feel of a relegation final day. I mean, it might help that we got relegated a few weeks ago, but yeah, it just felt like it wasn't really a party atmosphere either. In my opinion, it was more of just a family get together sort of feel. You know, that's how it felt to me, like a family get together. You know, you were raising a bit of money for charity. And the game turned up the entertainment to 100, and it just felt like a nice day. That's what it felt like. It felt like a nice day in another otherwise torrid season. And thank you to everybody who came to us with messages, and to everybody who sent them to the club as well. Like you say, Matt, we'll try and cobble them both together into a bit of something. But yeah, it was just nice. It was a nice day, and I'm sure there's a few sore heads today as well.
Yeah, definitely. Great to see Victor's family as well. Rolf, his granddad, and his granddad and uncle were up as well. Not met a bad Swede yet, to be honest with you. They're all lovely people so far. I'm sure there's some horrible ones somewhere, but we'll get to meet them. Let's go through some comments first of all. YouTube is with us. Damien Cower says, "Good evening, all. Ending on a high. Was I dreaming?" He says. Dave Lawton says, "Evening, all. A little bit of optimism. The Evans effect." Michael Connell says, "Good evening to you all, and what a day, night, wow, and night, wow." He says, "I'm feeling it all day today." We met Michael yesterday. Nice to meet you, Michael. A few people talked to us before filming about the podcast fans, and it was lovely to meet so many people yesterday for us as well. It weren't about us, obviously, but that was now really nice to meet loads of listeners. Tobias is with us. I haven't been having a good day today, Tobias, but I'm glad you're with us now. Was with us as well. Even John's made an appearance. The Birmingham fan, he says, "Evening, fellow League One fans." May I bless him. Oh, John. If I were you, I wouldn't be doing any football stuff this weekend. I would not be watching anything. But yeah.
We'll be fine, John. It'll be fine, mate.
It'll be fine. Let's start with the Victor stuff, Ben, because we're here, and that's it wasn't what yesterday was about, the football-wise, but it sort of was. Victor didn't start, to the shock of basically everybody. How did you feel when you saw the team line up? I know Mick felt, so I'll come to you, Ben.
Yeah, I mean, if he didn't start, I think he had to come on. I think it would probably be better if he played and then came off rather than didn't play and come on. But yeah, I was a little bit shocked. I thought he'd play Phillips' penultimate game to see him rather than last game and give Victor last game, like we said. So I was a little bit shocked, but I mean, the reception that he got when he came on was amazing.
It were, yeah. I think when the team news came through, Mick, we were very unhappy, very, very unhappy. But a kind of a byproduct of that was the last half an hour of the game just became something quite special. The fans singing for Victor to come on, singing Victor's name 3 or 4 times, and then I don't think I've ever experienced a player coming on to that kind of reception ever for Rotherham United in whatever 30 years I've been watching the club.
No,
it became special. It became even more special.
it started with Lee Peltier being substituted.
Yes,
and that the ovation he got from all 4 sides of the game, obviously having been an ex-Cardiff player, that kind of lifted it ready for Victor to come on. I mean, Pelt's got an absolutely fantastic ovation from everybody, and deservedly so, with the career that he's had. And I think that kind of suggested that might be his last professional appearance. So that sort of started it off, and then obviously Victor came on what 89 minutes, something like that, to an amazing ovation and fully deserved. And got man of match as well.
That was brilliant. That. He got man of match if he didn't come on, money, to be fair.
Yeah. I thought we were going to get booked for asking Ballboy to throw a ball on at one point.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was good. It was great and sad at the same time. But yeah, hopefully he understands from that, what he means to us as supporters, because it's way more. It all sounds, if you're an outsider looking in, like for John, for example, as a Birmingham supporter, this all sounds a bit pathetic, really. You've had a good player and he's going. Yeah, it's essentially what it looks like from the outside. But it's much more than that. It's much more than that because of the way, as a complete outsider from another country, he's kind of taking this club to his heart, and he gets it straight away, and he has become part and parcel of the club. You know what I mean? And the club has become part and parcel of him, and that's the difference. If he was a Rotherham lad or whatever and moving on to bigger and better things, yeah, he'd get the similar sort of reaction. But I think the fact that I'm going to say he's not one of us, but he is now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm not articulating it very well, but it means a lot to us. It means a lot to us.
Yeah, it does, Kev. It's good that I said on the last podcast that it's good that we get this, for us as fans, as closure. We get to have this goodbye. We've had so many great players over the years that we haven't had that kind of goodbye to. And Victor, just talking about Victor, because again, you've been watching Rotherham United a long time, like all of us, and the connection with Victor seems strangely stronger than almost any player we've had. Certainly in my experience.
Yeah, we were talking about it in Cutler's yesterday morning. We were saying that, and I can't recall any player ever doing what he did yesterday either, with the drinks and after the game coming into the pub and stuff like that. But like Mick said, I agree. He's not a Rotherham lad. Like, if it were Ben Wiles or something, born and bred in Rotherham, fair dues. But he's a Swedish national. He's come over to this country to play sport and fell in love. And he genuinely, I've had the very privilege of having spent a bit of time with it all last week, so I've sorted this out. And obviously, met Tobias, and I had quite a few drinks with him. Ended up in the back of a white transit van last time. Actually, that's another story. But he has just adopted us as his club, and he has adopted us as his club, and the love it's mutual. Every single Rotherham fan loves the guy for what he's done for the club and his family, and it is 100% mutual. He really does love the club back and love the fans back, and which is why he'll never sign for Sheffield Wednesday. Thank God.
Correct. Yeah, if any Wednesday fans thinking this might be the one, this is not the one. Move on.
Never, ever. He actually, someone asked me the question, but he did actually say them words, so he's never signed for Wednesdays.
It's not even worth debate, Wednesday. Don't waste your time with the debate. We know it's not happening. And Danny, he stayed for. We came around to do the instant reaction in the COP just to do it in the stadium, which was quite cool. But it must have been an hour after kickoff, after full time. They were still at the stadium taking pictures, talking to fans. He's just got so much time for people. And again, this isn't a dig at other professional footballers. He has gone above and beyond for a normal person who work in any working environment. It just goes the extra mile. And it should always be applauded.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, it has to have been a good hour, and he was on his own because everybody else had gone inside to get changed. Yeah. But I don't know. Maybe they all understood it was Victor's day as well, so they just sort of left him to it. But like you say, it's very, very rare that you see footballers have that amount of time for supporters, especially at the top level. It's almost more of a personal connection that you see at non-league level, where there's only 100, maybe 200 fans watching a game. But it was in a stadium where 10,000 turned up, 8,000 odd Rotherham fans, and he made time for every single person who wanted to come and say hello to him. And it's testament to his character and how humble he is that, he was there for the best part of an hour because people just wanted to get a little piece of who Victor is as a footballer and a person. And certainly in my time watching Rotherham, I've never felt that sort of personal connection to a player, except for Victor. And I think that just makes him even more of a special footballer. And, I've seen a few things on Twitter about Hall of Fame, and someone in the comments has mentioned it. But yeah, I'd put Victor in there in a heartbeat. Hall of Fame is not really meant for current squad players, is it? But Victor's in it already.
Yeah, we'll save that for when he leaves, when he officially leaves. Feel an emergency podcast coming on when he officially leaves, sadly. Yes, Tom says so many footballers are PR scripted. Victor is just Victor, which is a really good way of putting it. Paul Rose says, I got a thanks, love, when I gave him a Sweden scarf, made a year. We could, like I said earlier, we could talk all night about Victor, and we will talk about Victor again whenever it is that he leaves the club. We should maybe finish the Victor chat by saying, I hope everything goes well. His baby's due in a couple of weeks, so I hope he gets back and sees that kid whenever it's born, and has the time of his life this summer being a dad before he has to go worry about football again. Because we love him and he deserves all the happiness. Anyway, that's enough soppy crap for this episode. Let's move on to some proper football. Ben, we won 5-2. We scored 5 goals in the game. 3 strikers getting goals. Was there something different about this game? We can come to the Birmingham game, for example, and just talk to me about the game itself, because it was fun, I thought. Fun.
Yeah, it was fun. I don't think the performance was too different to any other in the past 2 games since Evans came in. I thought they just couldn't be asked. So they just kind of gave up a little bit towards the end. Last game of season, I think they're bang on mid-table. I don't think they've got anything to really care about. I thought we played well. I thought we played some good football. I thought they played some good football, but I also think if they wanted to, they could have scored a couple more. I don't think they were trying the full hardest. But I mean, we still played well. Got a couple of crosses into the box and actually scored. So
Who
who
thought?
knew?
Crossing balls, you score goals.
Yeah.
I just want to come back to Shelley. Sorry, Shelley asked the question needs to be asked about players leaving transfer fees. We will come back to that another time. So we've got so much to cover from the game yesterday. That is absolutely 100% a right question we need to talk about. If we get time, we will come back to that. But I probably think we'll probably struggle tonight, but we will come to that. Yeah, Mick, you're not one for giving Steve Evans credit. We know this.
No,
but he's just stripped back to basics, and that's what. And it's easy to say, it's easy to do that. But we've had 2 managers in a row that haven't done that. They've not just gone back to basics. Yeah. And Liam Richardson more so, because when Liam Richardson came in, we were already on the floor. So it should have just gone right back to basics, put the ball into the box, be aggressive, and he didn't do it. And Steve Evans has come in at 4 points in 3 games. We look a different team almost. I know Cardiff Front Beach, I know that. But the way we're playing is what we've been begging for 18 months, basically.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. And it's
killing him.
He's killing him. I know it is.
It goes me to praise him. It does. But what I would say is we've had 3 managers this season. The first one has pounced about with his spreadsheets and his flip chart and his degree in whatever. You know, this is how it must be done. This is how it must be done, and failed spectacularly. Liam Richardson's come in on the back foot, and he's clearly there has been issues behind the scenes in terms of his relationship with players. Whatever that is, I don't know, but he's not been able to drag them up by the bootstraps in any way.
Yeah,
Steve Evans has come in here, and as you quite rightly said there, he's done what realistically any normal person, any right-thinking person would do, and he's stripped it back to basics. You know. He's looked at players, what their capabilities are, where they fit, and then fitted that into a team that gets the ball forward, and gets the ball in the box, which is where you score the goals from. You know, so yeah, he's done the right thing, absolutely. You know, and clearly the type of personality that he is any of those players that are in that squad are the ones that need a kick up the backside will react to him, and they will work for him. You know, the ones that perhaps need a bit of lovey-dovey and telling how good they are, maybe they're not the ones that will stay anyway. But yeah, he's done it. He's done what I think, and I don't mean this to sound the way it probably is going to come across, but he's done what we all wanted everybody to do, and had any of us been given the manager's job, we would have done the same thing. Playing the players where they're suited and getting the ball in the box. You know, it's just basic stuff, isn't it? And yesterday, I accept that it was the last game of the season with nothing to play for. However, you know, it was a proper Rotherham United performance, without a doubt. And that, I have to say, and it galls me to say it, that is a result of Steve Evans being manager.
Clip that, everybody. Clip that. John S says, "Is Mick praising him now? I must be dreaming."
Yeah, I feel a little bit sick in my mouth there, actually. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And he deserves even more credit, Kev, because you look at the squad that were available. He had 3 senior players on the bench. One of them, Sariki, who's barely played. But he's got a tune out of Appiah. He's got a tune out of Bramall. I thought Bramall was probably his best game for us, maybe in 2 years. I thought that's exactly what I want from Bramall. Overlapping runs, good crosses into the box, which he's clearly capable of. And I just wonder where that's been. And again, he clearly deserves credit for that, Steve Evans.
It does. Like Mick says, no, it is just simple, basic football, which, you know, it's what we've been good at. It's what's made us successful in the last 10 years. It's obviously also cost us relegation as well, but it's what we do best. And you know, simple football is you get them crossing box. Tough, you know, I've been critical of Hugo and all, and maybe looking at him yesterday, had he had the service for the last 45 games, we might have got a tune out of him better. Same with Eves. You know, we've got players like that who can do that in the box. And obviously Nombe getting on the sheet as well. And I just think they're all part. I like Ben said, they're already Cardiff thinking 2 shits they'd already done. They couldn't wait to get away. And maybe the players like Bramall, Played out the skin. I thought he was unbelievable. Maybe they'll play in either for a new contract or a move or just to get this shop window. But either way, it worked. Whatever that man says in that change room, we like him or hate him, he gets a tune out of play, as simple as that. And he's now given us some optimism for the summer. We know it's going to be busy. We know he's going to sign 15, 20 players probably. And it's going to make it fun. It's going to be good to watch. And fans will be excited about going back next year because Steve Evans is in charge.
Yeah, completely agree. Let's talk about Bramwell and Appiah again for another minute, Danny, because I think Appiah's had a tough season. He's had a really, really tough season because when he's been played, he's been playing out of position. I'm not necessarily defending his performance because he's been bad. He's been really poor at times, Appiah. But again, Steve Evans was just coming and right, you're an attacking player. I need to put you in an attacking position. The formation yesterday didn't really make any sense. It took. I still can't work out what it was. But what it meant was you had people playing in the right position, Appiah playing in the right position, and obviously Hacks in the right position, and Nombe in an attacking position. And Appiah was really, really good yesterday. Him and Bramwell, they just worked together like they've been playing together all season. It was so good to watch.
Oh yeah, it was absolutely, and the overlapping runs that Bramwell made against Appiah as well. Imagine if we'd been seeing that all season and that had worked.
Simple football.
Exactly, simple football. Have your fast one overtaking the other fast one and get balls into the box, and it causes problems. Imagine that. Imagine if we had it on both wings as well. That'd have been dangerous. Anyway, we can live in hope for next season. But yeah, with Appiah, he's almost found a new breath of life under Steve Evans. Like you said, there has been times where he's completely off his game this season, but looking back with hindsight, is it because he wasn't being utilised correctly? Is the way to utilise him in the overlapping sense. And like Nick Leeson's just said there, Appiah is a free agent. So, maybe he's one that Evans will have a conversation with, do you want to do it again next season? But yeah, he's struck up a little partnership with Cohen Bramwell over the last 3 games. And, excuse me. And it's been great to see. It's been great to see dynamic football down the left-hand sides. And it's something to get on your feet about in a season where I think everybody's been sat down the whole time. It took a little bit for it to click in the game, and it felt a bit slow in the first 15, 20 minutes or so. But when everything sort of clicked, it was a brilliant game to watch. It was a great game to watch. I had a West Ham fan sat next to me who was doing a tour of the country, went to different grounds, and he's got the unique stat of seeing 2 relegated teams score 5 goals in his travels with us and Burnley. But he said it were a brilliant game to watch and really exciting. And it's like, mate, if you would have come 5 games ago, you'd have been saying the exact opposite.
Sleep.
Yeah, exactly. But Appiah has gone from one player that I'd have been quite happy to see leave in the summer to a player where it's like, if he can do what he did against Cardiff with that partnership with Bramwell, he'll be a real asset in League One next season. And he's gone to a player that I'd like to see come back because I think he's still capable of doing more.
Yeah, I wonder if people at the other minds are asking Bramwell to do too much. I think Bramwell's pick is very, very quick, but he's very limited in a lot of other areas of his game. And I think asking him to play wing back didn't suit him at all. He's not a great crosser of the ball. But then when you put in the right areas, because he was able to overlap, he was in the right areas, so the crosses were much, much easier for him, which then it just builds confidence, I think. So again, a bit of praise for Steve Evans again, which Mick will begrudgingly accept about that. Tom Case is strange how Appiah played well when he isn't being played as a right back. Yeah, Tom. Odd that, isn't it?
Round pegs and round holes, isn't it?
Yeah.
We've said it about Appiah quite a few times this season, haven't we?
You've been telling us for 46 games, Mick. There's a player in there, and
without a doubt. And lo and behold, the first game he gets played in the position that he's suited to, he has an excellent game. Bizarre. Who knew? Who knew if you played players where they're supposed to be, you might get a tune out of them? Well, revelation. Oh, the way with Matt Taylor, he put it on his spreadsheet.
Okay, fair enough. Nick says it showed good attitude and desire as well yesterday to go back to front, whereas before, if we conceded, all heads would have dropped to go down. and we would lose. Yeah, that's something. It's only been 3 games, Ben, but that's something else that you can see against Bristol City. I know we lost 2-0, but under Liam Richardson, we lose after that penalty goes in. We lose that 4-0. You know, yesterday against Cardiff, when if that was Liam Richardson, especially that second goal just after half time, we lose that game. I am certain of that. But there was no resignation about the team, and I know it's the end of the season and the games don't matter. But for me, that's massive that the team are able to stay in games and just be competitive.
Yeah, I mean, part of that I think is having faith in the fact that you're going to get back in the game. I think under previous managers, I mean, we didn't look like scoring so badly when one went in. You know what I mean? It's game over. So when under Evans, I think it looks a lot better and a lot more attacking. We actually look like we're going to score. So I think there's that faith of, we can get one and get back into it. You know what I mean? Rather than just give up. Because we look so much better with the ball, because we have more of the ball, we're more dangerous. We don't have to defend as much, so we kind of look better without the ball, you know. So yeah,
we still didn't defend very well. There was still many sloppy moments, but
I mean, we're still bottom at league. You know what I mean? You can't.
That's where we are as a team, innit? Defensively. Huh? That's where we are as a team defensively.
Yeah, but how many defenders have we got?
Well, Pelton's a centre back, is it? It's certainly not in a 4.
We've got one centre back, so unless Mick's going to put his boots on, you know what I mean? I don't think
centre half.
We don't need a dwarf at centre half.
You can play anywhere, can't you?
So yeah, let's talk about some of the goal scorers. Mick, Tom Eaves scored 2. One of them being a penalty, which we'll come on to. That's funny. But I like Tom Eaves, and the fans like Tom Eaves. He's been dealt one of the harshest hands we've had in recent times for a player. You know, he signed for Paul Warne, but then got injured, and by the time he got back, Paul Warne had gone. Matt Taylor really didn't fancy him for one reason or another. Liam Richardson came in, and we all thought there was something there. You know, Liam scored a goal against Plymouth, scored against Blackburn, and then again, Liam Richardson seemed to fall out of love with Eaves a little bit. And Steve Evans has come in, and he's played 3 games, scored 2 goals. There's certainly there's a player in there. Certainly at League One level, there's a player in there.
He can finish, can't he? You know, his movement inside the box is really good. It's almost Georgie Kelly-esque in the way that he positions himself with the defenders when the ball's coming in. He's very cute, very clever, but I guess he ought to be given the experience he's got. So. Yeah, he's an old-fashioned type of player, is Tom Eaves, isn't he? And I think we've probably alluded to this before. You know, not as popular in the Championship level. That kind of player, you know, it's just not. It's not the done thing, which is like I said. We talk about Matt Taylor and his whiteboards and his little circles with lines coming out, joining into other circles and all that from his university course. Tom Eaves wouldn't have fitted in any of those, so but it's right up Steve Evans' street because it's just old school. So I think he'll do us a really good job next year. And I watched the interview with him on Radio Sheffield, and you know what? I just feel so sorry for him. You know, the way he's been treated over the last 2 years it's horrendous, really. You know, and the fact that he's still up for it and still willing to commit to it says a lot about him as a man. And I would go back to the Paul Warne, good human beings. He clearly is a good human being, but he's a big, strong unit as well. And I think he'll do us a good job next year. I'm sure he will, as long as the manager puts his trust in him. Because we've seen a lot, and he alluded to this in his interview. You know, you can't keep dropping in and out the side. You just can't. You can't get a run of form. You know, and that's shown very many times with Tommy. You know, his touch deserts him and everything else after he's been out for 4 games, comes in for 10 minutes, and so on and so forth. It's just not the right way to deal with it. So if he gets a run in the team, he will. Well, he's banging goals in, and that first goal today yesterday was excellent. He got in front of the defender and turned that in. It was a really well taken goal. So I'm looking forward to seeing him next season. He's going to cause some problems in League One. Really is. I
agree. Somebody put I've lost the comment. He finished top scorer. His top scorer. His first goal was the 16th of December, and he's finished as top scorer. That says more about the team, sadly. But yeah, he's fun to watch, Kev, because he's a chaotic player. He's very mixed right. He's very Georgia Kelly, very very unorthodox. But there is something about him. He always puts the effort in. We do and have questioned his quality at this level, but you can never question his willingness to run for the team, and that's the Rotherham United kind of player. If you can add 10, 15 goals in League One, then he will be loved next season at our place.
Yeah, I think exactly that. I think that's a perfect way of describing him. He's a Rotherham-esque type player. He's got that heart and commitment. He's going to give 110% every single game. He knows, he's a clever bloke actually, but he knows he's not best striker in the world, but it does offer a lot more than just goals. He's like mixing his movement is fantastic. His hold-up play is quite good as well. And his first goal yesterday, I think it was maybe a left foot volley or half. I'm not sure. Coming at some pace, but to hit it and connect like that, it's technically that is very good. And like Mick alluded to as well, the fact that he's still shown that commitment to how he's been treated by the previous managers. Footballers, people think like someone commented, I bet 10 grand a week helps. Yeah, of course it does. But we all heard at Legends Night from Kevin Watson when he was talking about his mental health, when he heard people booing him and shouting him and stuff like that. Tom Eaves, he'll have had sleepless night. He'll have been at home, like I said in his interview, thinking, "What's going on here? What have I done wrong?" But I think that what's going through it is the belief from the fans. Like I said, the fans. I think when we first started chanting that Eaves thing, people thought they were kind of booing him or something. But he's loved by the fans. Fans appreciate what he does, what he brings to the team. They know they're not going to get 25 goal season out of him. But I generally think next year, in depending on who we partners with, if it's like yesterday, them three, and I don't know if Green's going to stay, but very exciting. I can see him getting 15 plus quite easily.
Yeah, I can absolutely. People mentioned, like you mentioned, Kevin, people mentioned the money. I mean, there's a few other players at this club who have been injured for a lot of this season. He could very well have done that. I've got a niggle and I can't play. He didn't. He's been on bench for most games this season. His availability has been, I imagine, it's one of the top of the club. So deserves a lot of credit and praise. Without controversy, Danny, it didn't. The penalty incident, nailed on penalty. There's no point talking about it. It was a nailed on penalty. Then came the arguments, which I quite enjoyed. John Hugel is a designated taker. Tom Eaves decided to take the ball and put it up his shirt, so John Hugel couldn't take the penalty. It was all quite childish and a bit unnecessary. What was your view on it, Danny?
Well, you say about it being a nailed-on penalty. I think there were 3 nailed-on penalties in the build.
In one incident.
Yeah, because the player, I can't remember the name of the Cardiff player, but he effectively had the ball under his arm at one point in the build-up. So he's like, well, that's handball. Then Duffin gets fouled initially and then gets fouled again. So I think if the referee had not given it, we'd have been talking about an absolute the third absolutely appalling refereeing decision in the space of 5 weeks, I think it is. But anyway, yeah. With Tom Eaves, like you say, Hugel might be designated penalty taker, but he's not took one this season, has he?
We've only had 2.
Yeah, well, exactly. We've only had 2, and we've scored both of them. So are we one of the few teams that's got a 100% scoring record with penalties? Anyway, I'll just gloss over the fact that Leicester have had 14 and we've had 2. But anyway, with Tom Eaves, I think he was so determined to not only prove himself but also he probably already made his mind up what he was going to do. I think with Hugel, especially the penalty that I kind of remember against Bristol City last season, Hugel's very down the middle, I think, whereas I think Eaves likes to place it. And he was so determined to take that penalty. Like, he was having that. As soon as it got given, he went and got the ball straight away. And from my perspective anyway, I think it was Ollie Rathbone that eventually said to Hugel, nah, just let him take it. Because it was like watching Chelsea with the penalty debacle, wasn't it? But ultimately, the right man was chosen and he scored it. And it now makes Eaves our top scorer for this season with 6. But just to go back to something you said earlier, I sort of disagree. I don't think he's like Georgie Kelly. He strikes me as more of a Michael Smith character.
Maybe.
like the big man in the box, but he's also capable of a good strike, like you said, Kev, with the half volley for his first goal. It's almost behind him when he makes contact with the ball.
Yeah.
So for me, he's more in the same realm as Michael Smith. And as we saw with Michael Smith in League One, all right, he was a bit younger, but if we can sort of cater to that, then Tom Eaves will be amazing in League One next season.
Yeah.
But he's definitely where you have to cater to his style, I think.
Yeah, I think Smith was just a bit more orthodox. Smith looked like I mean this in the nicest way. Smith looked like a professional footballer. Tom Eaves looks like he's just kind of coming off street and he's just a big gangly bloke, and it sometimes looked really uncomfortable, like he did with Georgie. But he gets results. So I don't want him. But I know what you're saying. It's maybe a mix, Danny. Maybe a mix of Smith and
and I think after a run of games, you'll see more of his style, I think, rather than it's just on the pitch, you know. And didn't we sign Eaves as a Michael Smith replacement as well?
Well, depends who you ask. Apparently, it wasn't a replacement, but it looks like it was. And then anyway, Nick says if he'd have missed it, there would have been hell on. That would have been quite funny, to be honest with you. I don't like us missing penalties, but there would have been. Hugo's reaction would have been quite funny had he missed the penalty. But to be fair, Ben, the crowd was shouting for Eaves to take it. You know what I mean? I just thought, he didn't quite sour the day because of everything else that went on after it. But it was just not necessary, right?
It was funny, to be honest, because what's funny is that you pointed after it meant Hugo would have got his hat trick.
Yeah,
Hugo would have got his hat trick if he'd have took it. Obviously, if he'd scored it as well. But yeah, I mean, it was just a bit unnecessary. I mean, no one will ever know what really went on and what was said unless you're on the pitch. But I think Hugo is the taker. But yeah, I mean, as soon as the whistle went, Eaves' name was being chanted. So I mean, you can't blame him for grabbing ball, can you?
What a penalty were though? I mean, it's so clever. Like his way he run up and he watch keeper go one way and just taps it in. Brilliant penalty.
Yeah, I said yesterday, we're like Greg Alford against Leeds. Not keep like it would have defended it net, but it was very similar to that, waiting for it and just. I liked it a lot. Tom K says Hugo might not be the designated taker because whenever he's had a penalty, he hasn't been on the pitch. That's true. But Hugo took 3 or 4 in Hugo's time last year. So
there's no way he's a designated taker. On this planet, surely.
Who knows?
Jordan didn't have to throw his teddy out at caught though, didn't he?
He got really upset.
He really spat his dummy out and wandered off to halfway line. Not a good look. I mean, I know somebody said that the arguing over the penalty is not a good look, and it's not really. But when he finally gave up, when Hugo finally gave up trying to take it, from that point on, what he did was not a good look at all. Not at all. He's a striker. He should be standing on the edge of the box looking for the follow up, not walking back to halfway line. That was poor. That was really poor, and he needs to have a look at himself for that and grow up a bit.
Fair. Talking about Jordan Hugo's performance all around, Mick. Obviously, the second goal was great striker's work. He was there. He was there, and same with the first one as well. It's a really good cross by Bramall. Sorry, but he was there in that position. It just shows if you put the ball in the right area, Hugo is a quality player. He can score goals and he knows where to be.
Yeah, he's a goal scorer, isn't he? Absolutely, he is. And like. Again, we said it right there in the opening of this podcast. Who knew if you put the ball in the box, the striker would score goals? And the second goal was excellent pressing from him. A really poor back pass, to be fair, and even poorer from the goalkeeper not being able to close it down as well. Handling it through his legs, it was just a comedy goal as far as Cardiff were concerned. But great work from Jordan Hugo. In the right place and pressing at the right time. So yeah, I mean, he still spends too much time going for the man and not the ball. That's my problem with Jordan Hugo. Far too much. There were a number of occasions yesterday where he looks at the ball coming across, looks round, looks at the man, and goes for the man instead of the ball. I don't understand. I don't get it, and hopefully that's something that Steve Evans will try and get out of his game. I think it might be a bit late now; he's too long in the tooth, but it's not good enough that But giving the ball in the box, he'll bang it back at net, no doubt.
Yeah. Harry says on the penalty should have brought Victor on to take it. Yeah, we should.
Yeah.
We said that on Thursday, to be fair. We should have really got a penalty, should have took it on.
I did a request about with Sky, seeing if I could do that. Have a goal. They've replied to me.
Fair enough. Shelley says that was a Jordan Hugo performance we've been missing. We know he's capable of. Just haven't seen it for a long time. Thoughts on that, Kevin? I thought other than the goals, I think he was pretty anonymous, but he scored two. That's the most important, I suppose.
Yeah, we know he scores goals. He's done it all his career, and he's very good at it. But I'm on Team Mick. Even yesterday, he's still doing his same old tricks, and it's boring. I don't like to see it. I still don't want to see it from one of my team players who play for my team. It exactly what Mick said. He turns around, looks for a man. He tries to win a free kick very easily. It goes down feigning injuries quite often, and it's just not. I don't want to see it. We know he can score goals. We know he can prove something about a bit. We know he's a very good footballer. He's played in Premier League. We know he's a great footballer. Show us what you can do with the ball, or put it in the back of net. Don't be doing these stupid little things he does, and it frustrates fans. And I think that's why fans have not really took a shine to him. He has scored some important goals for us, but who knows next season? I don't know whether I keep him or not. His wages, like someone put in comments, his and probably a few other players' wages will go down. There are clauses where it drops. So at 14 grand a week, Hugo is not any value at all. If it halves and goes down to 7, we could have a very good league. And he don't need the money. Let's be right. He's a multi-millionaire. He's not playing for the money anymore. So he might think, right, do you know what? I owe that club something. I've probably got another year or two left in my career anyway. I don't even know how old he is. Well, let me have a crack in League One. He knows it's a lower level football. He knows he'll get goals. Steve Evans might be the man to, like you said, shake him up and say, stop doing it, mate. Get your son off floor.
Yeah, there's not often I've heard fans get so frustrated with a Rotherham player because what he does. Because every time he does it, people just tell him to get. Rotherham fans are telling him to get straight back up. It's quite unusual that, but yeah, it's just mad. I don't really understand. But Craig Miller says, "Do we need 2 strikers, Eves and Hugo, on 9 grand a week next season? Who would you offer?" If you had to keep one of them, Daniel, I'll another question. If you had to keep one of Hugo or Eves and sell one, which one would you be keeping? I think I know your answer, to be honest.
I would keep Eves and cash in on Hugo, because like we've all said, the way he conducts himself sometimes on the football pitch, minus when he gets service, he scores, isn't the Rotherham United way, and that's something that Steve Evans has said he told the team to do. If they went behind, if they got the equaliser again, he said in an interview that his instructions were, he was saying to Paul Rayner, right, let's see how they respond to this, and he wants to instill the Rotherham United way back into it. And it's sort of a weird parallel that the one player that Matt Taylor brought in that has made some sort of impact doesn't conduct himself in the quote-unquote Rotherham United way. Because Matt Taylor brought him in January, and he has been crucial, and he's scored 12 goals for us, I think it is. I think it's 12 goals for us over a season and a half. But the way he conducts himself is the stereotype of the Championship, whereas Steve Evans wants, the hard fighting, stay on your feet, win the ball sort of player. And out of the two of them, it's Eves who I want to stay because he has that in him, whereas Hugo doesn't. He only has that fight and battle to win the ball when the result's already going in our favour, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And if you don't be careful, if he stays, he'll do what he did to Connor Salmon and put him on wing. So he wants to be careful, Hugo, about what he does. Ben, let's talk about the 5th goal, which was obvious. Which I think was number the 5th goal, the 4th goal.
Yeah, Hugo was 5th, I think.
Hugo 5th, okay. So number with the 4th goal, Ben, which was the best goal. And number had a really good game. He's played essentially a 10 role where it just sits a bit deeper behind Eves and Hugo, and he had a really, really good game. He was able to get much more involved, and the goal it's just an absolute stunning goal.
Yeah, I think he's got a lot of potential, Nombe. I really do. I mean, he shows some bursts of really good, and then obviously some not so good. But you can't really blame him when he ain't got anything. You know what I mean? I don't know how many goals we scored this season, but we went probably created about 20 chances all season. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you can't really blame him for not having that many goals. But yesterday were just amazing, and maybe playing him in that number 10 slightly deeper is a little bit better for him because he's got that pace, and obviously he showed yesterday he's got that technical ability to hit that from edge of box. I definitely think he's going to be a player in League One. I think his pace is going to be frightening. I think if he can get in the team and Evans can get some out of him, I think he's going to be a really good player for us. He's young as well, right? 23, 24?
25 at the minute. So 26 in October. So a
26.
good age.
Yeah, well, he better turn good. We spent £1 million on him, but I mean, I think he will. Yeah.
Yeah. Nick says I will be happy if all the strikers we have stayed in League One. I think we'll agree. And we worked out last night, Mick. I think he's got 6 goal involvements this season, or 6 or 7 goal involvements, which is the joint highest in the team. So although he hasn't scored the goals, he's still getting involved and still making things happen. And we all want him to succeed because of the money we've spent on him. And there is something there, and I think the move probably came a year too soon for him, to be honest with you. He probably could have done with a second year in League One, maybe, or just a better manager in the start of the season, maybe.
Well, he's going to get a second year in League One, isn't he? So that's the first part of it. And when you look at the fact that he's had 6 goal involvements this season, given the fact that we've only got ball in final third 7 times, that's not a bad effort, is it? You know what I mean? So yeah, look, he's going to be a good player. There's no doubt about it. You know, he is, and that goal on Saturday was outstanding, absolutely outstanding. Definitely the goal of the day, without a doubt. And given how few we've scored this season, arguably a contender for goal of the season. To be fair, took it really, really well, brought it down well, turned well, and just killed it into that top corner. So yeah, good player. Going to be a real handful for teams next year, I think.
Yeah, I completely agree. And somebody's saying he ought to be for £1 million, but 6 goal involvements in 37 goals or something like that, that's not a bad ratio to come back. So he does deserve a bit of slack very much his first proper season at this level.
Given how few times he started.
He didn't start him still, did it? Once?
No, absolutely. The bloke who bought him, bizarrely. And also a couple, like I just said, with how few chances we've actually created this season. It's not a bad return.
No, I agree. I do agree. Let's talk about the keeper, Kev, because Dylan Phillips had 2 games now, basically 2 full games. And I thought yesterday was it wasn't bad against Bristol City, but I thought he pulled off a couple of Victor-esque saves yesterday. Certainly one in the first half, which was basically point blank range and a good save. I thought before these 2 games that he would be number 2 next season. We'll bring somebody else in, but I've seen something. Just as a fan, I've seen something there that he could be a really good player at League One. Kicking's off, but I think you can get away with that in League One. Oh, you're on mute, Kev.
Who did that? Yeah, no, I like him. We've not had much chance to see him. Why he started yesterday as well. I get why Evans did that, and he does. 1 game away at Bristol, it's not enough to see him. And obviously, it's hard as a goalkeeper. You know, when he came in, he knew we were going to be number 2. He did know that, and he probably knew that Johansson was going to leave at some point as well. But it must be hard because obviously now there's no like reserve fixtures and stuff like that.
Yeah.
No match experience, anything in the last 2 years. Year is it? It must be very hard for him to keep focused and keep his like match fit. I suppose not fit, but do you know what I mean? Prepared to be thrown at a deep end. And I suppose working with Victor's helped him with that. And you can see when they came off, when Victor came on, it was very touching, embraced by him. Like you can tell they're going to get on. But I think it could be. Evans kind of alluded that he's probably going to be number 1 next year, and his interview, and I think it's the right choice. I think he deserves a crack at it. But knowing Steve Evans being Steve Evans, he will have a backup plan. We'll be signing somebody with. Like, I'd love to see Vickers back. I thought he was fantastic for us. And he's not going to get in Derby team. Let's be honest.
No.
So I think he'll sign someone with knowledge that they are going to compete with him to be number 1. But I do think Dylan Phillips will start as Rotherham number 1 next year.
Yeah, and I think Tom, Danny, sorry, it makes things easier for Evans because he ain't going to worry about trying to get in another Victor type keeper or a young loanee from somewhere else. He can just I've got Phillips who is a solid keeper. If I get somebody who's at a similar level, then we've got competitive goalkeepers. It takes the pressure off a little bit how good Phillips has been the last 2 games.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I think with Phillips, the chances that he didn't quite get his hand to or didn't quite react quick enough, you could put down to game rust. You know, because he's only had a run of 2 games squad plus was it the FA Cup game that he started in, or was it the League Cup? No, it was the League Cup game, wasn't it? Back in August. So if he has that run of, you know, being the starter keeper in pre-season and moving forward the starting keeper in League One, you know, it'll get that match sharpness very easily. I suppose Victor's quite lucky because he's had that match sharpness through last season, pre-season, and then this season. But like I say, Phillips pulled off some saves that were Victor-esque, and you know his reactions were were fantastic. So it's sort of given me a bit more confidence that he can be our starting keeper next season if Victor does go. And the only thing Evans has to worry about is a solid backup keeper, but he might persevere with Nat Ford's as it's not quite as much as a priority. You know, I'd say Evans has his priority list ready to go in front of him.
Yeah.
And if Victor does go, it won't be number 1 priority. It might be the 3rd one because we still have the standby keeper as well. But he might explore it at some point. But no, I wouldn't be upset if Phillips persevered as number 1 choice next season because he could be a real asset in League One. Didn't we sign him as a free agent from League One?
No, from Cardiff.
Oh, from Cardiff. Oh.
It was free from Cardiff, but he'd been on loan in Belgium last season.
Ah, okay. But yeah, it could certainly do a job in League One.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Nick says, for me, the keeper, he just isn't athletic enough. Maybe used to Victor, but for me, he just isn't quick enough. I mean, that's the thing, Ben. If you're going to start comparing people to Victor, you're going to be disappointed very, very quickly because Victor's essentially a Premier League goalkeeper. We've as fans almost got to recalibrate and say, right, okay, not going to get that caliber back anytime soon. What is a League One goalkeeper?
Well, what's funny is as long as I've been watching Rotherham, I think we've had a really good keepers. As long as I've been watching, you know what I mean. It's only select a few that you can kind of say that weren't really good for us. So maybe it's just you know, what's the word? Like a tradition. Maybe he's gonna just magically get 10 times better because he's playing for us in net. Maybe because we're so poorly defensively that every keeper we have has to step up and save us. But I mean, I don't know. It's too early to say I haven't really played for us, but I don't know. Playing what's it called? Taking Victor's spot is following in his footsteps is not going to be easy. But we also said that about Rodak.
Yeah.
And then we've had Victor. So maybe he's a new Victor. You never know.
Fair enough, it could be. Yeah. Scott Kent says, wasn't Phillips in team of the season for League One not long? I'm not sure what team of the season, but Eva Evans has certainly been talking him up as a very, very good League One player a few years ago. Let's see what happens. You know, if Evans thinks he's not good enough and he needs a better player, he'll go out and get a better goalkeeper. Evans will get what he wants. We know that about Steve Evans when it comes to transfers. But there we go. Somebody asking about the retained list. Harry asking about the retained list. Evans said there will be talks on, Tuesday, I think, is one of the last days. So probably expect an announcement on Tuesday or Wednesday, probably. We'll talk about that when that gets announced. We'll come back on Thursday. So we'll talk about that probably on Thursday when we come back. Let's look at next season a little bit, Mick, because obviously the Championship was final day. So our friends that are coming with us have been confirmed. Huddersfield Town, we already knew Huddersfield Town.
Yeah.
Birmingham City back in League One for the first time in 30 years or something like that. I don't recall a relegation fight where all the teams have won on the final day. That's very, very, very unusual and quite unlucky for Birmingham, who ends up going down. Done the job on the day.
Yeah.
How do you feel about Birmingham coming down? It's not ideal, is it?
I think I've made my views clear on Birmingham City coming down a few times on this podcast over the last few weeks. Not particularly happy about it at all. I think they're they're going to be spending money next season. Certainly a lot more money than we're going to be capable of spending. So it's not going to be easy. And given you've got big spending Wrexham coming up, you've got Stockport coming up, Huddersfield, I suspect, may be in trouble. Behind the scenes, we've been saying that for a few seasons now. And I think the relegation, hopefully, I shouldn't say that. I was going to say hopefully tips them over the edge, but hopefully keeps them down there, causes them to remain down there. So, but Birmingham coming down is a bit of a blow for us, I think, personally. But well, we'll have to wait and see because there's some big clubs come down and fail to get out of there, aren't they?
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah, we've been there. Kevin's seen it. Sunderland, Ipswich, other teams. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with Birmingham. With the owners that they've got and with the actions they took with Wayne Rooney, for example, I wouldn't have much faith in them to get the right manager for the league. It's about getting a manager right for the league. Yeah. And Ipswich did it wrong and Sunderland did it wrong. You've got to get the right man for the league. And if they don't, they'll be stuck there for a few years like some other clubs. Yeah, definitely. Look at Derby. Look what Derby was stuck there and they got the right man for the league. He's finally took one. But yeah, you're right. It's going to be an interesting year because am I right in thinking there's no salary, there's no wage cap or salary cap in League One or no? So if they want to sign someone on 20 and look at the current squad, I mean, strikers like Hogan who 15 million quid or something he cost at one point. I know Hugo did well, but Hogan, they've got some good players already, and they should be installed as the bookies' favourites instantly. I would have thought. But as you mentioned, the teams coming up, Wrexham and Stockport, the big clubs for that league. I know they've both recently been in non-league, but they are very big clubs for that league. And I don't know who owns Stockport, but we all know who owns Wrexham. God, we read about it every frigging day, so we'll know who owns them. So they're going to spend money as well. But we've got Steve Evans, so anything can happen. We'll probably be in between 6th and 10th in the budget list, so we will be able to track players. And it doesn't always work, does it? Spending shitloads of money in League One to get promoted. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm optimistic, and I'm looking forward to it. Couldn't agree more. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. If anything, yesterday showed anything, Danny, it should be fun. It's Steve Evans' ball is just chaotic and fun, and it might not be enough. Look, if it's not enough, we're at a point now where we just want to see something, and I'm confident we will get that something next year. Whether it's enough or not, well, but we'll get that, I think.
Yeah, Steve Evans has already nailed his colours to the mast and gone, we will return to the Championship next season, which I think is a very bold claim to say we've just gone down from this season, but that could be Steve Evans being, Steve Evans. But like I said, Birmingham are going to come down and spend, which will automatically put them as the bookies' favourites. I agree. That's not a certified promotion for them. We've seen it many times before where it hasn't worked. I'd be more keeping an eye on the teams coming out of League Two for another promotion. Wrexham, I think, might get stuck in League One. I think because they're in the same vein as Birmingham. They've got this lovely promotion money. Let's go and spend again. But I think the team that will be smarter about it is Stockport. I think they'll be the surprise package coming up next season. And I've said it on a few podcasts before. It's the most League One looking League One we've had for many, many years. Yeah. Maybe Birmingham being the only outlier in that. Potentially Huddersfield after what they've achieved recently with the Premier League and coming back down. But anyway, if Steve Evans plays the way that we played against Cardiff, chaotic football but enjoyable football, there's no reason why we can't finish top 10 easy. Top 6, easy, top 6, hopefully. But I think a lot of people have, especially Birmingham fans, no offence, John, they've sort of written them into first position already. And they said they're going to piss the league and, run away with it. I disagree. I think it's going to be a very, very tight League One next season.
Yeah, it is.
Very, very tight. There's going to be basically nothing between 1st and 8th, in my opinion.
It's a big step up. League One, League Two to League One is a big step up. So if Wrexham stop underestimate it, they ain't going to be anywhere near top of league. If they do it properly, they can be. But yeah, there we go. I think we've done everything. I just want to give Mick a shout out because in the prediction league this season, he's predicted a Rotherham win basically every single weekend. He didn't predict a Rotherham win this weekend. So well done, Matt. Well done.
Oh, close. I got a boring 0-0, so I mean, it weren't far off.
No, not far off now. Yeah. So there we go. Anything else we need to mention? Danny, you go.
Yeah. Yes. So my dad has started his own podcast now. Not on football, disappointingly, but on Freemasonry because he's in the lodge. So he started a podcast for his lodge in Derbyshire. So yeah, go and give that a listen if you want to find out a bit more about Freemasonry because he explains all the different roles and what their equivalent is in normal jobs. So go and give that a listen and subscribe to it because it's I've been listening to it and it's actually really interesting. So get a look-see.
There you go.
It is on Apple Podcasts if you want to go and check it out.
Okay, something to listen to. Kev, you mentioned last time a podcast. Are you any more movement on that? Or are you still in the works on it?
Yeah, still thinking about it, mate. I've not really done not much more thought. To be next season now, anyway. But it's still thinking about it. But the only thing I'd like to mention is all the fans who didn't get a Victor card. We have got more in order. Victor's gives the okay to get some more, so we've got another 1,000 coming. I think Tuesday or Wednesday. So I myself or Brett Stubbins on Facebook or Twitter, we're getting knocked out. £5. All the money goes to hospice. We're asking for £1 just to cover posting them out. But yeah. Just going to stand by Victor as usual, and we've got more coming. So if anyone missed out on game one, just get in touch.
It's been an hour, Kevin. I've just realised what you put your name as on screen as well.
Yeah.
Very observant of me. Thank you.
I'm waiting for Depot to open on Tuesday. I'm going to change it properly.
I thought you got married on. I thought it had gone all belly up at Cutler's on Saturday night, and you'd end up getting married.
If it meant him staying in country, I probably would.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to mention, boys? Ben, we found you got grey hairs in your beard at 19-year-old. Do you want to talk about that, or should we just?
I haven't. I had a look earlier. It's not. It must be. Yeah, it's not. False alarm, mate.
Look great to me.
Anything else, lads? Cool. Thank you all for being with us. As I said, thank you everybody who came and said hello yesterday. We appreciate that. Thank you for supporting the podcast over the season. This is the final review show. It's been a tough season to keep doing these podcasts, but we've been doing it. I think we've tried to keep it positive as we can. We'll be back on Thursday. We're doing our pre-season prediction reveals. So on Thursday, I think we've got Danny, Tom, Mick, and Joy. And then Sunday, Kev's back, Ben's back, and I'll be doing mine and somebody else. Lewis is with us on Sunday as well. So we'll look at how badly. I don't know if anybody picked Tom Eves as top scorer. That'd be quite fun to see somebody did. I don't think he would have done, but anyway, we'll see that. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to there and follow us on Twitter and X and Facebook, whatever that may be. And if you're an audio listener on iTunes, Spotify, make sure you follow us and subscribe and give us a 5-star rating on there. Boys, thank you very much. Kev, it's a pleasure to have you back, mate. Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Danny, Ben, Mick, let's just go.
Cheers.
Always a pleasure.
Later.
Into Wales through a goal, slots it beyond Foderingham, and the Millers are in front in the South Yorkshire derby. And for the first time in 42 years, Rotherham United win at Bramall Lane. On the edge of the box for Duffy, he can hit them, and he does. The Dolphin has scored an absolute screamer for Rotherham United. Rotherham United have secured their championship status for next season.
Do me a favor, drop me off in